Hi all, Win here. So in today's video, I wanted to showcase probably a quick training video just to showcase how we could use glideajax. So essentially having a client script, call a script include to get some of the data we need in a synchronous way. So it's not performance heavy when we're trying to fetch a result from a query or whatnot. So essentially what it means is when you've got a client script, instead of waiting for the query to load and essentially halt the page from loading, we utilize the script include to do that query parallelly or on parallel, and then it will bring back the result without stopping any of the rest of the page loads. So I just want to showcase that and a very quick requirement, simple query that we could do. And hopefully you could then expand that. And also part of it will be looking how we utilize the user session, which is a global object of getting the user session, and then using some global methods to essentially get that the attributes we want. So let's quickly go into what the requirement that we're going to use as this exercise. So with change requests, we have planned start date and planned end date. Now, the way this has been built is if I was to select date in my time zone, whoever views it in their time zone, they would see the date in their time zone. But it's not very clear. It's something that's just understood, but it's not clear that I would say in my time zone. And it's a bit finicky, I would say, to go and work out what your time zone is to know that the planned start date is in your time zone. But if you know it, then it's great. So we kind of want to showcase that a little bit more visibly. So the requirement we have today is, can we add an info message that essentially gets the user's time zone, whoever's viewing the change, and say this is in the current time zone that you're in, which is then, and that's pulling from the user record. So essentially what I want to do here, if you see plan start date and plan end date, I want to have an info message that just says these dates are in the current time zone that you're currently in, which is XYZ. So in order to do this, there's a few things that we would need to set up. So first things first is we're going to need a script include that will basically allow us to provide back the time zone name that we want to showcase, and that will do our queries to essentially get the user session and return that. We then need an client script to basically call it and then showcase that into an info message. And then the third piece, which sometimes isn't clear, but you would need an ACL just to ensure that this client script or this call could be triggered by whichever personas you want, and that's defined by role, or you could have complex conditions, but we're going to do it by role. So essentially anyone who really views change should have the ITIL role. So we're going to stick with, if you have the ITIL role, then you can see on these fields what time zone you're currently in, so you know, oh, okay, this is planned start date and it's my time zone. I'm happy with that. So the way let's dive right into it. So firstly, the script include we're going to need, so you can name this whatever you want, and just going to make sure that the names match when you call them, but we've just called it simply user time zone. And over here, this is essentially the code. So you really want to ensure that we have this prototype and object extends abstract Ajax processor that allows it to be basically be able to be called by the Ajax, the glideajax method. Then the type user time zone is just ensuring that this is the type of the script include, so it understands that. And then we have the method itself. So we essentially create a function, and in that function we are saying, in the variable session, get the current user session. So whoever's called this script include from that client script, get that current user session, and then from that global object session, we essentially go and get the time zone name and we return the time zone name. Now in our client script, essentially what we do here is we create a glideajax object, and then we add the parameters of the name of the function, and then essentially we get the XML and then pass it into our function display message. Now that display message at that point, basically, we say, okay, get the answer that comes from that particular script include. And then once we got that answer, we put it in a variable called timezone, and then showcase that in our message. So in our message, in our variable message, we say all dates are displayed in your time zone. We add in the variable so it gets that dynamic time zone attribute from the user session, and then we will basically show a fill message just below end date. So it's just kind of laid out nicely, I would say. We display the message that we want, and then info. So by typing this info type, this just ensures that it's in that blue color. If you type in error, it will turn in that red color. So that's basically CSS there, just ensuring that we got our kind of styles inputted there. But I would say info is a nice way to do it. And the third piece is just that ACL that I discussed. So just creating an ACL. So please do remember that you do need to have security admin to create an ACL. So if you try and create an ACL and you can't see that new button, just ensure you elevate your privilege, and that should allow you to create that ACL. So first, you have different types. Normally we use table types, but for this one, we want to have client callable script include. Put the name of the script include essentially in there, and then just ensure you have your role. So the access control rules work like this. Allow access, so allow if they have this role, and then it should essentially allow them to trigger off this. So as you can see, we've got our ITIL there. So in order to show what this looks like, I know one other really important thing is to just ensure that this script include is client callable. So this glide Ajax enabled has to be set to true. This also could be called client callable, but just make sure you've got essentially this client callable set to true for this particular script include. Okay, yeah, so what we're going to do, I showcase what it looks like, and so we're just going to make this active now. Just save that. Okay, so now if we go back to our change request, I'm just going to refresh my screen, and now we should hopefully see an info message there. So if I just refresh my screen, okay, here we go. So all dates are displayed in your time zone, and as you can see, this is my current time zone. So just to show, so users can check their own time zone. It's just a bit finicky, and what I mean by that, so if I go over here, I go to profile, and I can see my time zones here. So I can see it's pulled out correctly, but just having that on the change, especially when in change records you have multiple teams, and whoever creates the change in their time zone, you know that it's automatically translated. By just displaying this, you know that definitely has occurred. So I want to showcase this as a different time zone, so I'm just going to go in and impersonate the user ITIL, and I'm just going to quickly showcase this user's time zone. So we can just confirm you're at Madrid, great. And all I'm going to do now is just go to the record I was on. Okay. And here you can see all dates are displayed in your time zone. So you can see it's slightly different because of the time zone. So the dates are different. You got 11:38 and you got the 0 to 38 for essentially the American time zone. So I hope that's helped, and I hope that's given a little bit of insight on how we could use Glide Ajax, and then we could use the user session object. If you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, hope you have a good day. Thank you all. Bye.